Hi, in today's video, we're going to go over a scary real estate story, and we're going to start right now. This one is on the buy side. This is a fun story, and this story kind of leaves me traumatized. A home isn't closed until it's closed. Okay, long story short, I had a buyer that was a rock solid buyer. Great job. Down payment was great. Rock solid. Now there was a few red flags. Okay, it was a young buyer buying the property, and mom and dad were involved. And mom, of course, had a real estate license, or had a real estate license. So that's kind of red flag number one, but not a big deal. We can work with that. All right. But wait, there's more. They made the offer on the property. The home inspection was painful. They just asked for a ton of stuff in repairs, and they wanted $15,000 off. And the seller agreed to it. Okay, so they were okay. Yeah, it's all right, no problem. Then we got to the walkthrough. Now, normally a walkthrough is 30 minutes. You walk in, you make sure there's no damage, and you walk out. Everything's hunky-dory. Now, this walkthrough was a 3-hour walkthrough. Okay, now that's kind of a little bit of a red flag, because where are we spending so much time? Well, they were measuring and all this sort of thing, and they gave up talking to the neighbors and all that sort of jazz and everything else. But wait, there's more. It's Friday. I'm heading to closing. I stop by the house. I pull the key from the lockbox. I'm driving to closing. And I got to the parking lot of the title company. It's 10 minutes before closing. And the buyer calls up and says, I don't want to buy the house. And I'm like, why? Well, there's an Airbnb next door. And so anyway, the buyer decides to not close on the property. And wait, there's more. And she wanted her earnest deposit back. And I'm like, are you kidding me? What? I'm like, what in the world? Oh. So then I had to call. This is a kind of a funny part of it. I had to call the listing agent. That was not a fun call to make. Okay. And it's a husband and wife couple. And they were super nice. They were real nice on the phone. They had their little photo on the sign. They're a real nice looking couple and everything. And I didn't know this at the time. When I switched companies, I actually met the listing agent in person. And come to find out, he was a lineman for the Kansas City Chiefs. This guy was huge. And I'm like, I'd have been a lot more scared about making that phone call had I known who I was calling. He's a super nice guy. They kind of got the feeling. I mean, everybody, if you know who I'm talking about. But super nice guy. And they couldn't believe it either. And anyway, the lesson of that story is a property is not closed until it's closed. And anything can happen in real estate. Now, this happened a couple years back. And every closing I have, guess what? 10 minutes before closing, I get a little nervous. And then sometimes sellers will go to me and say, they'll be mad about something. And I'll be like, I can understand that, but guess what? It can get worse. And here's the other red flag too. Okay, the daughter that was buying the house was dating an attorney. Okay. And the sister of the buyer was married to an attorney. So those should be... There's another big red flag, and I won't share that with you because this might give away who it is. But anyway, long story short, I mean, if you're not looking back, you know, if mom and dad are driving the sale and you're not ready to buy a house, then don't buy one. Okay, don't go through the headache of buying everything. They had, you know, a lot of inspections. They spent a whole lot of money, and lo and behold, I just don't think the gal was ready to buy a house. Okay, and I think mom and dad were kind of driving the bus on this, but that's my take on it. But anyway, that experience right there, painful. Anyway, to make a long story short, I mean, the deal on, they ended up selling that. The house is a beautiful house. The house is a spectacular location, and I think Warren Buffett lives about 5 blocks away. So I mean, it's a nice area. And then she's worried about an Airbnb next door, and she wanted her earnest deposit back, which is just ridiculous. But it takes all sorts of folks to run the world. But hope you enjoy this story and you make it a great day. Oh, and subscribe to my channel.